let's talk about something that I think every single developer can relate to. We're going to break down a really simple but powerful framework that explains why some of the features we build get tons of engagement and why others are just, well, ignored. It's called the Fogg Behavior Model, and trust me, this is a tool you're going to want to have in your back pocket. You know the feeling, right? You spend weeks, maybe even months, pouring your heart and soul into a feature. The code is clean, it's elegant, you've solved a real problem. You hit deploy, and then nothing. Crickets. It is probably one of the most soul-crushing feelings in our line of work. But here's the good news. What if I told you that user behavior isn't some random, mysterious thing? It's not magic. It's actually a system, a predictable one with rules. And once you understand those rules, you can stop guessing and start engineering for user action. Okay, so let's crack this code. The key to the whole thing is a framework called the Fogg Behavior Model. Honestly, the best way to think about it is as the operating manual for your users. It explains how and why they do or don't do the things you want them to do in your app. At its core, the model is beautiful in its simplicity. It says that for any behavior to happen, I'm talking anything, from clicking a buy button to filling out a profile, 3 things have to come together at the exact same moment: motivation, ability, and a prompt. Let's break down the formula. It's super easy to remember. B equals MAP. Behavior equals motivation, ability, and prompt. So first, motivation. The user has to actually want to do the thing. Second, ability. It has to be simple enough for them to do it without thinking too hard. And finally, the prompt. There has to be a trigger, a button, a notification that tells them, do it now. If even one of those is missing, the whole thing falls apart. No action. Now, here's where it gets really, really practical for us as developers. The model gives us this concept called the behavior line, which is basically the ultimate diagnostic tool for any UI. And the rule is dead simple. It's absolute. If a user's motivation and ability are high enough to be above this imaginary line when they see your prompt, they will take the action. If they're below the line, they won't. End of story. So you've got these 2 zones. Above the line, that's where we want to live. That's a successful conversion, a sign-up, a click. The user wants to do it, and it's easy enough. Then there's below the line. Ugh, we all know this place. It's the land of abandoned carts, user frustration, and rage clicks. It's where the user might even want to do something, but the friction is just too high. And this simple idea changes everything. The next time a feature isn't getting traction, you don't have to guess why. The problem is crystal clear. Your users are below the line. Your job as a developer is no longer just build the feature, it's get the user above the line. Now, you've got 2 main levers you can pull to do this. You can try to increase their motivation, or you can increase their ability by making the action way simpler. But here's the pro tip. And if you remember one thing, make it this. Always, always start with ability. As a developer, making something easier is almost always more effective and directly in your control than trying to convince someone to want something more. Okay, so enough theory. How do we turn this into a real-world toolkit? Let's talk about putting this model directly into our code and UI. Strategy number 1, find your most critical user actions, your signups, your checkouts, your onboarding, and just declare war on friction. Your goal is to make these things feel absolutely effortless. Think one-click social logins, breaking up giant forms into tiny steps, and for goodness sake, autofill every single field you possibly can. Every click you save pushes that user closer to the line. And that brings me to this. Burn this into your brain. Your greatest skill isn't just writing complex algorithms. It's your ability to create simplicity. For a user, ease is everything, which means for you as a developer, ease is your superpower. Next up, let's talk about timing. A prompt that shows up when motivation is low, that's not a prompt. That's just spam. It's noise. But a prompt that appears at the peak moment of motivation, say asking for a review right after a user completes a level, that's a conversion. The best prompts don't interrupt the user's flow. They feel like the next logical step. All right, strategy 3. You have to become a detective and hunt down the invisible ability killers. I'm talking about things like network latency, a button with a confusing label, a layout that makes me think for half a second too long. These seem like small things, but they add up. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, and each one drags your user further below that line. So here's your homework. I'm serious. Go back to your app, pick a key flow, and for every single step, every click, every input field, ask this one brutally honest question. What makes this harder than it needs to be? You are going to be shocked by what you find. And finally, while we can't create motivation from nothing, we can absolutely support and amplify the motivation a user already has. Show them a progress bar so they see the finish line. Use clear text to remind them why they're filling out this form. Give them that instant, satisfying feedback when they click something. Clarity is a huge motivator. So when you put all of this stuff together, the Fogg Behavior Model stops being just a cool theory. It literally becomes your new superpower. It's the thing that moves you from guessing what might work to intentionally designing things that will work. The real gift of this model is predictability. You can stop throwing features at the wall to see what sticks. Instead, you have a reliable framework to figure out what's wrong and build solutions that align with how human brains are actually wired. So here's your simple troubleshooting guide. The next time a feature is failing, don't just start randomly changing colors. Follow this flow. Step 1, always, how can I make this easier? That's ability. Step 2, am I clearly showing the value here? That's motivation. And only then, step 3, do you start tweaking the prompt itself? And the end result of all this? It's simple, but it's why we do what we do. You start building features that people actually use. You build products that feel helpful and intuitive, not frustrating. You build things that empower your users instead of getting in their way. So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Not for next sprint, not for tomorrow, but for today. Take a look at your own work, find one single interaction, and ask yourself that question. What's one thing in my app that I can make just a little bit easier for my users? Right now, go find it.